The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Spokane, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 34942. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting at the front bumper area, you'll find on the passenger side your electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver's side. Located directly in the center on the bumper face, you'll find the number 13, your unit identifier. Let's move up onto the bumper extension. Onto the passenger side is where you'll find a swivel discharge. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find in the center a tubbed storage location for your front bumper load with Velcro tie downs. Moving up onto the cab itself, on the outer edge, you'll find a marker and turn indicator. Just inside of that housing, you'll find the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Moving to the center of the grille, you'll find your mechanical siren. You'll also find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights. Directly above those warning lights is where you'll find grab handles for gaining access to the windshield area. Let's move to the outer edge, where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights across the very top section. You'll also find 2 forward-facing floodlights, one over the passenger and one over the driver's area. As we move toward the driver area, you'll also find your opticom. Moving out to the outer edges, you'll find your light bar. There are 2, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Located directly in the center is your main ladder and also master stream device. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, let's start with the front bumper extension with your hose tubbed storage location directly in the center area. Let's move upward toward the ladder. You'll also find lights at the very top section. There are 2 on the passenger and 2 on the driver. Also chainsaw scabbards. General view here of the side of the apparatus. Let's focus in on the cab section of the apparatus. First, starting out at the bottom with the front axle, Alcoa wheels, and in the very center section, you'll find a sight gauge for your axle. As we move to the front bumper extension, side-facing emergency warning light. Up to the A-pillar is where you'll find a camera located on the A-pillar. May be difficult to see in this image. It is the black bullet style. As we move toward, you'll find your doors easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are paddle latches and they are also keyed. Right next to that, you'll find grab handles for gaining access in and out of the cab. To the rear of the cab, just above the notch, is where you'll find an additional emergency warning light. As we move upward from that location, you'll find an LED water tank level indicator, and then directly above that, you'll find your cab scene light. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area. We'll start first with the door panel area. Affixed to the door panel is where you're going to find all of our safety and warning information. You'll also find a grab handle, electric door locks, and electric windows. You also have a manual latch located in the center with also a manual latch. Let's go ahead and move now down to the base of the seat area. I would like to point out a few items. First, about the right ankle of the operator is where you'll find these sets of placards. First, we'll start with the yellow placard. This is your manufactured for the city of Spokane. This has the 5-digit job number, date of manufacture, gross vehicle weight rating, the VIN number, all of the cold tire inflation information, and then also component and fluid component capacity and fluid type. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find your air horn foot pedal switch. Let's move up in the same vicinity, left knee of the operator. We'll start with the master battery switch. It is the quarter turn red switch. As we move down, you'll find your regen inhibit and DPF regen switch. Moving just to the right, you'll find an ABS diagnostic switch. This is going to be for your maintenance team, along with the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, display port, and tech module. Let's go ahead and move further up, same area. You're going to find your stationary OK to pump and roll, water pump, foam system, passenger side window, driver side cab window, and passenger side cab window. Let's move to the dash area. Start on the left. Hazard lights, start and ignition switch. Just inside of the location, an EM switch, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights with one button.
As we move to the right, you'll find your headlight switch and also a switch labeled panel. This will brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. Just to the right, you'll find the high idle indicator and switch to engage high idle. On the left, you'll find your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temperature. On the right, you'll find front and rear air, volts, and fuel. Located directly in the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and below the speedometer. Let's take a quick look just to the right of the driver's seat within preview. First, we'll start with this speaker. This is for your backup camera system. There is a volume control on the face of the speaker. You'll also find your command zone screen, a tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. As we move further to the right, you'll find additional switching. And then now at the very bottom section, your Allison transmission pad. Let's go back to the Pierce command zone. Once again, touchscreen, tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. Please see the owner's manual for more information. As we move to the right, you'll find your aerial master, aerial PTO, front wheel lock, and a future switch location. Differential lock, tire chains, auto lube fault, and load manager. As we move down, you'll find a pump in neutral regarding your engine brake settings for on and off, and also low, medium, and high, off-road traction, and mirror heat. You'll also find some warning indications regarding use of your tire chains and also utilizing your retarder. Just on the side of the panel, you'll find flat and convex mirror controls for passenger and driver side. As we move to the center, you'll find your climate control and then also a USB style 12-volt power access. Let's go ahead and go overhead of the operator. We'll focus in on this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 11 feet 11 inches, your length 41 feet 1.0 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating 70,800 pounds. Moving to the right, we've got additional switches: emergency master, roof light, front warning, and side warning. As we move down to the next, you'll find your lower rear warning and upper rear warning. Moving further to the right to the next switch panel, we have white light, Opticom, a push button here for the siren brake, which is in red, and then also an electronic siren. Moving further to the right, additional set of switching. First, driver and passenger side alley lights, driver and passenger side cab scene, front scene, perimeter lights, and driver and passenger side scene lights. Moving further to the right, you'll find your seatbelt monitoring information module. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green that they're in the seat and belted. As we move downward, you'll find your PA speaker and siren module. Moving just underneath this area, you'll find a red indicator. Do not move your apparatus when this light is on. You may have a compartment door open. Let's take a look to the rear section of the apparatus. You'll find netting in the rear section here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rear cab wall. First, starting within the center, an EMS compartment housing an adjustable shelf. And also in the upper left-hand corner of this, you'll find an additional power outlet. When plugged into shore power, that will become active. As we move to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning information affixed to the door panel. As we move inside, once again, center compartment, EMS, adjustable shelving, and LED lighting. And in that upper corner, you're going to find that shoreline outlet. This is active when plugged into shoreline power. Let's move directly behind the seat where you'll find, once again, shoreline plug and then also your battery charging system. We're now exterior. You'll find closest to the rear cab wall. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into this compartment. It'll also move right to the right where you'll find all of our crosslays located with an upper and lower section. Let's go ahead and take a look at the upper section now first, starting with the number 1 crosslay and number 3 crosslay, also foam capable. As we move downward, you'll find the number 2 and number 4 foam capable, and also warning entanglement hazard because of those hose lines coming from a loft. There's the possibility of entanglement. Let's take a look. There are 2 ball valves located on the driver's side, number 1 and number 3. As we move to the right, you'll also find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And as we move further to the right, the Pierce logo, American flag eagle, large diameter pump intake. You'll find your auxiliary foam operations located at the very top section. Also a foam warning. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. We do have a direct tank fill located on the right-hand side, and then also a warning here regarding fall. If you're going to climb on the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing onto it. Let's move down to the left side of the pump panel where you'll find your color-coded discharge drains and also your auxiliary inlet. As we start now with the pump panel, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner, first starting with the white box. This is going to be a speaker intercom system. Moving just to the right, you'll find the foam A. It is the green module. Directly in the center, you'll find an LED indicator that your pump is engaged. And as we move down to the gray module, you'll find your master intake gauge and master discharge gauge. In between the two of those gauges is where you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and these are for testing purposes. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the PCM fault indicator, also an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound, and also a pump overheat indicator, which is an amber indicator. As we move down, we'll find all of our discharges color-coded and labeled. Move further to the right, you'll find your Husky 12 foam system. There are two placards located here, instructions and also specifications. Just above that, you'll find an audible alarm also. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound. To the right, your pressure throttle governor with also a water level tank indicator in the blue module. Let's move down now on the pump panel. First, starting on the left with the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over this in just a few moments. Just to the right, you'll find your red foam module. This is to control your foam Husky system. Moving further to the right, you'll find the fire pump primer. It is a push to prime air prime with instructions for at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices. You'll also find your aerial discharge and recirculating line just to the right. The recirculating line is a twist, not a pull. And as we move further down to the left, you'll find your tank fill and tank to pump. There are two electronic valves located on this side control module. These are both on the passenger side. You'll also find a danger information placard regarding electrocution hazard. Your vehicle is non-insulated. Let's move down to the very bottom where you'll find the pump blowout and then also additional drains and also a warning label regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they've received proper training. At the very bottom, all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's take a look inside the pan door where you'll find this yellow handle. It coincides with the back section sticker on the back of the door regarding foam fill operations and operation. As we move down, you'll find your manual pump shift override. You'll also find an air horn. This is on the vertical panel, and then also a set of switches here for all of your lighting controls, which are color-coded and labeled. As we move further down, you'll find an additional caution label here regarding water and liquids will damage of equipment, regarding designated connectors before welding must be disconnected. The minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. The associated GPM is on the left-hand side and the associated RPM on the right-hand side with the 5-digit job number in the very top section. Let's move to the compartment directly over the stabilizer. Starting at the very top section is where you'll find when plugged into shore power, this will activate maintaining all of your brake pressure. This is an air compressor. As we move down further, you'll find a danger regarding an electrocution hazard because of the latter being non-insulated. Here's a close-up here of the air compressor and also shoreline plug outlet. As we move further down, once again, the electrocution hazard regarding the equipment not being insulated, and then also a crush injury. Because of that device moving and it's hydraulically controlled, there is the possibility of crush hazard. Let's move from this location. We'll take a look through the compartments here, starting next with the compartment right next to the stabilizer. The very bottom section has our wheel chocks, adjustable shelving, and pull-out tray. LED lighting also in these compartments. On the far right is the release mechanism for that tray. As we move to the center, you'll find an adjustable shelf in the very upper portion. As we move down to the very bottom, you'll find your 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. It is the blue cap. As we move further to the right, you'll find SCBA bottle storage location. This is in between the two axles. And then as we move further to the right, you'll find also your silver ultra low sulfur diesel cap. This is the fill location for your diesel. Also, you'll find a single bottle SCBA just to the rear of the axle. Let's go ahead and move to the rear compartment, where you'll find at the very bottom section your stabilizer pads. General view here of the side of the apparatus with your compartment doors in the open. Let's look underneath in front of the front axle, where you'll find your automatic tire chains deployed from inside the cab. We're now to the rear section. We'll start on the left-hand side of the rear portion of the apparatus, starting first at the very top with your shoreline inlet. Moving just to the right, you have an auto-eject airline inlet. As we move down, you'll find the brake, turn, and reverse lights, and then also on the outer edge, a marker light. Moving further down, you'll find an emergency warning light at the very bottom section, and then also a warning label here regarding caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Moving to the right, you'll find your Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is your large diameter aerial inlet. There's also an inclinometer. This is for left to right for your aerial device. And then as we move down, you'll also find an attachment point. There is a warning regarding direct pull on this attachment point. As we move further to the right in the pan door, this is going to be your aerial drain. It is an 1.5-inch ball valve located inside the compartment. We'll go over that in a moment. In the very rear, you'll find all of your ladder storage vertical. You have a 2-section 35, a 2-section 24. Moving to the right-hand side, 10-foot folding, 20, 20-foot straight, 28-foot 2-section, 16-foot roof. Back down to the very bottom section, this is that discharge. This is the drain for your aerial. As we move back up into the bottom section is where you'll find your aerial electronic control power and also stabilizer control power. It's the upper left-hand side, and then all of the overrides are located with your aerial device and stabilizers. You'll also find some warning and safety information here down at the very bottom section. You'll find each of the knobs are color-coded for ease of operation. Let's move to the other side of the apparatus at the rear, where you'll find once again this danger placard regarding your vehicle is non-insulated. Also a fall, do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion, and then also a tanglement hazard because of the lines coming out of the hose trough. There's the possibility of entanglement. As we move back to the compartment inside, you'll find your emergency stop push button. You'll also find just to the right an override, which is a protected switch. Further to the right, you'll find your stabilizer power. It's a switch and a green indicator indicating that it's on. And then diagnostic interface via USB. It's a plug for gaining access for diagnostic purposes. As we move down, you'll find stabilizer control. Please see the owner's manual for the operation of your stabilizer, and also a warning regarding aerial stabilizer hazard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle. Just a general view, all compartment doors are in the open position. And let's go ahead and start at the rear and work our way forward. First, starting at the very rear, adjustable shelf and also a tool board located on the rear wall. As we move forward to that location, you'll find LED lighting and ventilation in all of the compartments. Moving forward once again, you'll find SCBA bottle storage and also a dry deck material in the bottom section of the compartments. As we move between the two axles, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 4 bottles. The center section does lift up, gaining access to an additional storage location. I have some photos that will show that now. Then as we move forward, you'll find a single bottle storage location. Moving further forward, adjustable shelf LED lighting. Let's go down to the very bottom where you'll find your wheel chock storage location and also this warning label, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, especially during regen operation. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. Let's move forward to this location to an additional storage area. This is directly over the stabilizer. Then as we move downward from this location, you'll find the danger regarding electrocution hazard, that your equipment is not insulated. Moving to the next compartment forward, you'll find adjustable shelving. As we move to the very upper portion of this compartment, you'll also find when plugged into shore power, this outlet will become active. This is a shoreline outlet. It is a 20 amp. Let's move forward now to the crosslay area. Same configuration, just pass through on each side. We have the upper portion and also the lower portion, housing 2 hoses in the upper and 2 hoses in the lower section. Also, the compartments here, once again, number 3 and number 1 crosslays. As we move to the very bottom section, you'll find the number 4 and number 2 crosslay. Let's move downward to the notch area of the pump panel, where you'll find your strainer located in the upper left-hand corner. As we move further to the right, the American flag Eagle Pierce logo, large diameter pump intake. Further to the right, a warning regarding pressure hazard. Once again, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And then as we move to the upper right-hand corner, we have our cab lift. There are instructions for its operation and also some danger placard information. Once again, electronic valves have overrides, so therefore if there is a failure, you'll see the override located on the left of the discharge port. As we move further down, you'll find a warning label regarding riding on the vehicle, and also if you're climbing on the vehicle, face the vehicle. At the very bottom section, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary female inlet, and then further to the right, you'll find your large diameter discharge. It does have an electric valve, so there is an override. At the very bottom section, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move forward now into the cab area, this is the rear section of the cab. Let's first start with the door panel. We'll find with all of our safety and warning information, window controls, and also door lock, latch, and handle. As we move overhead, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights, and also your David Clark headset system. Just to the rear of the front door is where you'll find your air inlet. Inside that air inlet, there is a release mechanism for your door locks. It's the push button in the upper right-hand side. As we move now to the front section, officers area, let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning information, door lock, window controls, and also grab handle. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find your electronic siren foot pedal and mechanical siren foot pedal. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, airbag. There is also a warning here regarding the mounting of equipment within this area due to the airbag. Please consult Pierce for mounting instructions. To the right, you'll also find on the A pillar your windshield wiper fill location and a glove box and grab handle. As we move to the left, you'll find a parking brake, siren brake, and also 12-volt access via barrel style. And at the very front section, you'll find your vehicle data recorder. Let's go ahead and go overhead of the officer position. We'll identify a few items within this area. First, starting on the far right-hand side with your AM/FM weather band CD radio. You'll also find pump pressure digital readout, tank vision for water and also foam A. Let's go ahead and move from this location to the exterior. The ladder is in the upright position now, and we'll identify a few items with here. First, the yellow diamonds are going to be the designated walking surface. You'll also find hatch compartments. D-handle gains access into those compartments. There is LED lighting inside each of those compartments. This is the top fill for your water tank. Top fill for the foam tank A, and also a warning label regarding not mixing different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move to the dunnage area, you'll find your Husky 12 foam system hydraulic reservoir. There's a sight gauge and fill location. As we move to the cab area, you'll find these warning placards. This is a non-walking surface unless it has diamond plate. And this is a general view here with your ladder in the upright position. We'll now start to discuss the ladder options here. First, let's start at the very bottom section of the aerial ladder. First, this is a 4-section ladder. There is also a 14-foot roof on the outside edge. You do have markers indicating the length of extension. In the fly area, there's also mounting devices for long-handled tools, axes. As we move to the very front section, you'll find a crush injury warning. Let's also talk a little bit about this device. Please see your owner's manual for its operation. All this will allow you to pin the nozzle to a lower section on the fly area. As we move to the right, you'll also find nozzle control. Let's go down now to the pedestal area, where you'll find at the very front section your intercom system, volume control, and push to talk. You'll also find in the upper portion an emergency stop push button, lighting control on the left-hand side, and then also your Pierce command zone display located on the right. As we move down, you'll find nozzle control and stow options on the left, and then to the right, you'll find ladder control for raise, extend, lower, retract, and right to left. In the section of the top cover area, you'll find all of our safety and warning information. You'll also find NFPA placard regarding your weight capabilities for your ladder for each fly section, also with wind and icy conditions. As we move to the tip, this is your passive intercom system. It does have volume control, and on the opposite side, you'll find your tip light control. General view here of the forward section with the nozzle moved to the right section for storage. As we move to the cab on the passenger side, A pillar is housing the information regarding your camera system. Congratulations, Spokane, Washington, on your new Pierce Arrow fire apparatus, job number 34942. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.